Ever since Nintendo announced Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, I've been extremely excited to try out the game. After all, a Hyrule Warriors X experience set in the Great Calamity with the champions as playable characters? Oh hell yeah, sign me right up. That sounds amazing, and just a thing to kill time for Breath of the Wild 2's release. Yet it also left me worried at the same time. After all, while I've always liked the idea of Hyrule Warriors, I've never actually played such a game before. So I was left wondering, how would it all hold up? Would Age of Calamity really translate the Warriors gameplay into Breath of the Wild's world and characters? How would a die-hard fan like myself enjoy the game? Would I enjoy it? Well, as it turns out, the answer is yes. Yes, I damn well enjoyed Age of Calamity, and I can 100% say I will buy the game on launch on November the 20th, 2020. However, I do need to make one thing clear first and foremost. Put simply, while Age of Calamity looks like Breath of the Wild, it is not Breath of the Wild. It may have the same characters, world and some mechanics, but its core is a Warriors game, and plays at Hyrule Warriors rather than Breath of the Wild itself. And that's very noticeable in the world design. Put simply, while it looks super open, it's anything but. You can't jump off enemy platforms, you can't get past invisible walls, and you can't climb anything either. So in that sense, I did need to temper my expectations just that little bit. I needed to stop treating it like I did Breath of the Wild. Once I did though, I actually enjoyed the game a whole lot. Since the core of the game, fighting hordes of enemies with weapons and various attacks, is actually a lot of fun. You've got basic attacks with Y, strong attacks with X, plus a whole range of combos you can use by using them together. It's a fun system, and makes clearing out whole armies of enemies a complete blast. But the combat doesn't stop there. No, in addition to basic moves and combos, there are also runes, charge attacks and counters to contend with too. Unfortunately though, these are a bit of a mixed bag. On the one hand, it's quite fun blasting through enemies with runes, or seeing the different ways characters use them. For instance, if you use remote bombs, Link fires them rapid fire style, Zelda use a mech to shoot them, and Impa use a tornado that shoots bombs around. This makes it a joy to see what each character will bring to the table. And it's also quite fun to dodge an enemy attack too. Dodge it at the last minute, charge round, hit it at the back, that sort of thing. Unfortunately though, the same doesn't apply to bosses and mini-bosses, since the mechanics just do not feel that fun to me in that situation. That's because the system relies on a shield you have to break to do serious damage, with special moves used at the end to finish the enemy off. Problem is, it's not something I really enjoy here. No, in the original game, I liked the freedom of being able to take on enemies in any way you liked. But you can't do that here, at least not efficiently. It's also not helped that the enemy design isn't that great in these situations, since Breath of the Wild has very poor enemy variety. As a result, each and every mini boss is actually just the same enemy model scaled up a bit. Or, in the best case scenario, a basic enemy like a Moblin or Yiga Blade Master translates into a boss instead of an enemy. And that leaves you wondering, why? Why does this giant version of this simple enemy take so much longer to die? Why does it require you to break the shield? Why does an enemy that I've killed millions of times in the previous game suddenly take a lot longer here? It doesn't make a lot of sense and leaves you wishing for a new type of enemy to fill these roles instead. Like say Dark Nuts and Iron Knuckles, or other classic Zelda foes known for their combat finesse. Still, playable character variety is neat regardless. In the demo alone, you've got Link, Zelda and Impa all to play as, all of which have their own unique quirks and abilities. Link can use a bow and fights with traditional Zelda weapons and attacks. Impa uses ninja techniques like cloning herself and absorbing runes, whereas Zelda uses Sheikah Slate in all attacks, with Magnesis playing a very large part. It's a neat setup and makes each character feel unique to control here. It also leaves you excited to see what happens later too, to see the champions, King Rome, Hestu, etc, and how they'll change a formula. I also like the neat touches the game includes too, the ones that make it feel more like Breath of the Wild. For example, you can find Korok Seed throughout the world, use Magnesis to pull treasure chests up, etc. They're not major additions mind you, and they won't make or break the game, but they're nice to see nonetheless, and it makes the world feel a whole lot more interesting than it might have done otherwise. Still, while the gameplay is certainly the most important part, it's not the be all and end all here. No, the world building is too. In fact, a large part of my excitement for the game was seeing how Hyrule looked 100 years ago. Fortunately, Age of Calamity does not disappoint there at all. No, in fact the world in this game actually feels more interesting than Breath of the Wild. It really is a sight to behold and shows you just what you're fighting for here. And the new cutscenes are incredible too. Featuring plenty of characters that got little or no voice acting in the previous game, they fit right into Breath of the Wild style and give folks like Pure and Robbie far more personality than they might have done otherwise.
This is technology, the likes of which I've never laid eyes on. Which means we've got ourselves a brand new, never before witnessed Guardian Battle! Devices like the Sheikah Slate, which are amplified by the power of such ancient relics, are but a meager fragment of such technology.
I see. That explains why all of us were able to use the Sheikah Slate.
In addition, this here doohickey is loaded with data. Information we can't even fathom.
Aw, yeah! Check it. I extracted some visual data from the Guardian's memory.
Is that?
Yup, no doubt about it. Hyrule Castle after Calamity Ganon has been revived.
As you can see, we managed to extract some of the data, but much of it was fragmented. Even so, if I analyze what we received, I may be able to make sense of more of it.
Same goes for King of Hyrule, who narrates most of the game.
The Sheikah Slate conveyed the little Guardian's purpose. This anomalous visitor had traveled from a future of ruin, a time in the midst of the calamity, to save Princess Zelda.
Plus presumably the champions in the full title. What's more, it's also nice how consistent the voice acting is here too. In this game, if a character has voice acting, they'll always use voice acting. That's a huge improvement over Breath of the Wild setup, where the same character would use voice acting in one cutscene, but then traditional voice grunts in others.
And who might you be? The Zora King is not accepting visitors at this time. I shall escort you out. Pardon my manners, but are you a Hylian?
The music's great here too. so Age of Calamity has certainly exceeded my expectations, and it's one I'll definitely be buying on launch day on November 20th, 2020. After all, what else can I do? So this game will be a fun distraction, and keep me going till Christmas at the very least. Hope you enjoyed my thoughts on the game in this demo, and I'd love to hear your own ones in the comments below on your Discord server today.